Here I am standing with some potted perennials that I am getting ready to plant. And yes, it is mid-July when I'm taking this video. So you might think I'm crazy for attempting to plant perennials in mid-July, but this is one of the points we want to make, is that yes, you can plant perennials basically at any time of year, essentially any time of year when you can work the ground, including the summer. Is fall or spring a bit of a better time to plant? Yes, it probably is. You know, there are definitely some great benefits. It's cooler, there's more moisture. In spring, the plants have more time to establish their roots before the heat of the summer sets in. But, you know, sometimes life happens. There are reasons why you might have to be planting in the summer or might just want to. Some of those reasons might include that, you know, it's midsummer, your first flushes of flowers have been through and now your garden's looking a little drab and you're thinking, geez, how can I spruce this up? Well, you can plant. You can go select some plants that are in bloom, that will bloom in that gap that you're trying to fill, and get them in the ground. So, you know, there's a few key things you really want to do if you're planting in the summer. The biggest ones are water. You know, the answer is almost always water and mulch, right? Well, mulch is another one too, but more specifically, when we're talking about the water, is when you go to plant the plants, to first water the pot itself. Get that good and wet, get it thoroughly moistened, let the plant sit in it for a few minutes and really soak up and get a good drink before you go disturbing its roots and disturbing the pot, and so that it's well hydrated to begin with going into the ground. And then the second thing is to dig your hole and water that hole. And I mean overwater that hole. I mean fill it up like it's a bucket. Get it good and wet. That will also saturate the soil around it as that water, you know, drains down, which means that you won't be surrounding your nicely moistened plant with soil that is dry and just wants to wick away all that moisture. So starting with those two things will actually be huge and do great success. Some other things to focus on is, you know, if you have the choice, maybe start with the shadier places, start with the shadier plants because they're going to be exposed to less stress, but also match the plants to the location. So don't try and grow a full sun plant in the shade, and don't try and grow a shade plant in the full sun. You know, everything has its preferred location. Listen to it, go with it. That also will ensure your success. And then something else you can do is if they are plants that are in the sun, especially in the heat of the day, give them something for a little bit of extra shade. That could be a beach umbrella, it could be some shade cloth, it could be a sail, a temporary sail that you set up with a tarp or whatever. You know, that's not strictly a have to do, but it definitely will go far to reduce the plant stress in those early days, even for full sun loving plants. You know, you're not going to kill them by kind of filtering their light in those first early days. You're going to reduce their stress, and then as they get established and go on, then you remove that shade from those full sun plants and you let them do the things that they're supposed to do. So, you know, there you have it. You definitely can be planting perennials all summer long. It's not something we usually do with annuals. You could, but you know, the biggest reason we don't do that with annuals is that they have such a limited life cycle anyway, that if we're planting later in the season in the summer, then, you know, the likelihood of them growing to the size that you want and blooming out and things like that is quite a bit less. But with perennials, we have a lot of leeway. And as long as you can keep them alive this year, you know, they'll overwinter, assuming you chose perennials that are hardy for your zone. They'll be in place and they'll do gangbusters again next year. So don't feel like you have to limit yourself. If you're in the mood and you're you know, looking to add some pizzazz, or just you have the time now to work on your garden, go for it. Just do those things. Water the pot, water the ground, and then keep the plants watered daily after that, gradually backing off of that as the plants show more signs of success and establishment. You can gradually back off to the point where over the next month to 6 weeks, you have the plants are kind of on their own along with your other perennials. And then you would switch to a watering schedule that would just be match what you would do for all the perennials in your garden. So there you have it. Happy planting.